Coming up on this St. Patrick's Day edition of Cache Rendezvous.
There are stories, some of them are true.
We'll show you the legends that made the Shamrock Saint so popular.
Once you get the bug, you just can't stop doing it.
We'll show you how one group gets their jig on to celebrate. And
neither of those are traditionally Irish.
Where this St. Patrick's Day dish is really from.
Welcome to the St. Patrick's Day edition of Cache Rendezvous. I'm Leah Crishoni.
And I'm Kaylee Foster. In honor of St. Patrick's Day, we're taking a look at leprechauns in the media. In order to do that, we have to introduce the Cache Rendezvous Pot of Gold.
No wonder they're after me Lucky Charms.
In 1960, the world was introduced to Lucky Charms, the first cereal to include marshmallows in the recipe, and the first cereal to have a leprechaun mascot.
We now have Jonathan May with us. Welcome.
Hey, thanks, Leah. St. Patrick is one of the most famous saints in the history of Christianity. So how did the patron saint of Ireland become so popular?
Is it because he got the snakes out of Ireland?
That is one legend, and it's not the only one. I took a look at the life of the Shamrock Saint to see if the stories were true. The Catholic Church celebrates the Feast of St. Patrick on March 17th.
Oh, most definitely he's my favorite saint. I always found it interesting to really enjoy the day and to get to learn the story of how he brought Christianity to Ireland and just how he grew up going from a reckless teenager to a saint in the Holy Roman Catholic Church.
Turns out, the patron saint of Ireland wasn't even Irish. He was English, and his real name was Maewyn Succat. The name Patrick came later in his life.
He probably picked it up after he became a Christian. That shows it how they become a different person, that they are no longer that person they were before their baptism, and now after baptism they are a different person.
Legends of St. Patrick say snakes were driven out in Ireland because of him, but
pretty unlikely that there were ever any snakes in Ireland, but it makes for a good story.
Another legend is that St. Patrick would use a shamrock to explain the Holy Trinity, where each leaf represents the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, making up one God. However, some priests say St. Patrick probably didn't use this analogy.
In those writings, he never writes anything about how he taught about the Trinity can be represented by the shamrock.
Christianity arrived in Ireland in the 5th century and spread across most of Ireland because of St. Patrick.
But Patrick worked very hard. He didn't get to all of Ireland, but he established parishes, he established churches, he established monasteries. He worked very hard.
St. Patrick lived 76 years and died in 461 AD. St. Patrick didn't arrive in Ireland until he was kidnapped by pirates at the age of 16. That's when he started his Christian mission.
Kidnapped by pirates?
Yeah, it wasn't Johnny Depp, but they were actually called Irish Raiders.
Wow, thank you for coming on the show, John.
Hey, thanks for having me, y'all.
Kaylee, I've heard that corned beef and cabbage is an Irish traditional food for St. Patrick's Day.
But is corned beef really an Irish dish, though? I took a look at what corned beef is and why we eat it on St. Patrick's Day.
Brisket, the main ingredient of the St. Patrick's Day dish, corned beef and cabbage. The brisket has
undergone a brining process in order to be cured, along with other spices, usually by preference, that makes it corned beef.
Here at the USU Meat Lab, workers help process meat into cuts that the customer wants.
As you can tell from this poster here behind me, consumers have a wide range of choices of meat that they can cook. While the brisket is its own section of the cow, it's also a choice of cut that the consumer can buy. USU says that they sell the most briskets during this time of year.
With corned beef, for instance, if you're gonna make corned beef, you're gonna probably want to trim this up quite a bit, because if there's quite a bit of fat there, it makes it hard to have that cure.
The history of corned beef goes back to when the British took over Ireland, bringing over beef-based meals.
They were used to salting their pork, so they salted their beef and used those corns to make the corned beef.
Or actually the curing process, when you make corned beef, actually makes it more tender.
The curing process also affects the look of the dish as well.
Corned beef is normally, you recognize it by its pink color. That's because of the curing salt that is used is pink.
While corned beef might not be an Irish dish, Rick says it's okay to call it an Irish American dish.
Sounds to me like it's a little more American than Irish.
Speaking of things that are only Irish, have you heard of Irish dancing?
It's Irish step dancing. And yeah, I have. Sarah Murphy met with a dance group who keeps the Irish mood and music alive all year long.
You'll hear it before you see it. The steps, the jumps, and the claps all make up Irish step dancing.
It's entertaining to watch, and I just enjoyed the music, I enjoyed the dancing, my husband loves it.
My favorite part? Everything, basically.
In Irish dance, dancers use either a soft shoe or a hard shoe. Now the soft shoe, which is like a jazz or ballet slipper, is used for more contemporary style pieces, while the hard shoe is used for dances where they're judged mainly on their technique. Now dancers say the hard shoe is pretty tricky.
It's very technical. So when you're watching the hard shoe, the foot placement, the sound has to be right on the beat, the rhythms have to be right on tempo.
It takes a lot of concentration and it takes a lot of strength.
Dancers say a good performer has straight arms, high kicks, and fast feet. They say that's what makes Irish dance difficult.
So it is one of the harder dance forms that I've done.
They're really hard and they're really fast, and it's frustrating to not get things right away.
Despite the difficulties, dancers say that the Irish dance community in Utah is thriving. And once you start, you don't want to stop.
You'd be surprised once you kind of get involved, you realize that there are a lot of people that love it and want to do it.
All the people I've met and the people that I've become friends with, my staff, and traveling all over the world, I've made friends in every part of the world through Irish dance.
Sarah Murphy, Cache Rendezvous.
The dance group's next performance is scheduled for this summer, and they will perform their rendition of Peter Pan.
An Irish dance group performing Peter Pan, do they jig to the music?
I guess you'll have to go and find out. And now we'll take another look into the Cache Rendezvous' pot of gold.
You mean I'm a leprechaun too?
In 2001, Disney Channel came out with The Luck of the Irish. The film featured a lucky basketball player who finds out that he and his parents are leprechauns when his good luck charm is stolen. Kyle has to find it before he shrinks into his true leprechaun form. I can't believe that movie came out 20 years ago. I still remember leprechauns, or I still believed in leprechauns back then.
Well, leprechauns are real.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I'm coming up. Parades and the color green might be the first things you think of when you think of Ireland, but we'll show you what else Ireland is famous for.
We'll see just how lucky our Aggies can get.
I mean, there are a couple good ones around town.
We'll show you how good the Logan bar scene actually is.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education, what are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts. Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Say with me, imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. 'Cause every kid across the nation deserves a book to read, and we can make it happen right now. No, I don't know what you've been told, but kids with books learn so much more. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite, unearth hidden passion. To motivate some magic, to change the writing on the wall, writing on the wall, and make a difference. One book can inspire a child. One book can be the first thing that helps to change a life.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition. No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
Welcome back to this St. Patrick's Day edition of Cache Rendezvous. Let's take another look at the Cache Rendezvous pot of gold for more leprechauns in the media.
You know, everyone knows you capture a leprechaun, you get 3 wishes, right?
In the TV show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Charlie believes he caught a real-life leprechaun. It turns out to be a man dressed as a leprechaun, but the characters figure that out after Charlie tortures him in an attempt to find his pot of gold. Luckily for the man, Charlie gets stopped before he goes too far.
When you think of Ireland, what things come to mind, Leah?
I think of green, good food, and gingers.
Robinson Miles shows us that there's more to Ireland than what you might think.
Parades like this one are what come to mind for many people when they think of Ireland. It seems like most people tend to think of the same things.
March, Lucky Charms, leprechauns, four-leaf clovers, green.
I think of accents. I think of my roommate because she's obsessed with this Irish show called Outlander. I think of Lucky Charms, little cute leprechauns, red beard, red hair.
Notre Dame, Ireland, gingers.
The Irish jig, dancing. You think of like kilts.
Even though people most recognize Ireland for these things, it has also made contributions to art, science, and culture. Submarines wouldn't exist if not for John Philip Holland, who sold his submarine prototype Holland 1 to the US Navy in 1900. In The Hunt for Red October, this submarine is captained by Sean Connery, an Irish actor. James Bond, played here by Pierce Brosnan, another Irish actor, is saved by his car's ejector seat, invented by James Martin. But his invention was made for airplanes, not Aston Martins.
As he tries to spring the upset.
Mixed martial artist Conor McGregor owes a lot of his signature look to fellow Irishman Samuel O'Reilly, the inventor of the tattoo machine.
We can even learn from Ireland's flag. Green represents Catholics, orange represents Protestants, and white for peace between them. Other groups might benefit from a similar gesture. A flag for fans of winter sports could end the debate of whether snowboarding or skiing is better. A flag for pet owners could foster peace between dog lovers and cat lovers. And a flag could even end the decades-old feud among licorice fans as to whether red vines or Twizzlers are best.
I bid you welcome.
Count Dracula never would have terrorized Transylvania if not for Bram Stoker, an Irish author who wrote the book Dracula in 1897. But Dracula isn't the only book by an Irish author to have a silver screen adaptation. Others include The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis, P.S. I Love You by Cecilia Ahern, and The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne. Robinson Miles, Cache Rendezvous.
And we can't forget about the most important Irish invention, chocolate milk.
The Irish invented chocolate milk?
I guess so, just learned that today as well. How much would it take to buy you out of your spring break? Aggies at UC Davis are being offered money to stay local during their spring break. This Campus City partnership is offering $75 redeemable at local businesses for the first 750 students to apply and promise to stay local during their week of spring break. But this idea is not so popular with our Utah State Aggies who are coming back from their 3-day weekend.
I don't think I would have traded it just because it was such a much needed break.
$75 for a whole week, I probably wouldn't. I don't think that's enough. Looking back on the experience, it was so fun. I really loved it, and I've been wanting to go to Arctis for a really long time.
Aggies at Utah State are enjoying the warm spring weather despite not having a traditional spring break.
This is our Luck of the Irish countdown, where we take a look at some of the luckiest moments in Aggie sports.
Yeah, thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Eberly for the game winner. Aggies will.
This game-winning field goal made it on our Luck of the Irish list because it was the first time since 1998 that USU had won a game on a last-second field goal. Not to mention, it was Everly's first game-winning kick with the Aggies. When it comes to the last-minute field goals, you really never know what you're going to get, so you can take all the luck that you can. And next up on our list...
Throws intercepted by Utah State.
We're bringing it back all the way to 2010 when the Aggies broke the 17-year losing streak against BYU. The Aggies finally beat the Cougars 31-16. They played a tough game, but talk about a lucky break. And for the next lucky streak...
Roddy. Oh, Keita smacks it.
It probably seemed like a crazy episode of Groundhog Day with block after block from center Namish Keita. He racked up 9 blocks last week against Colorado State. He got pretty lucky with the few that were close to being called for goaltending, but he and the Aggies danced away with the victory 62-50. And next up on our list...
Aggie by himself, blitz is coming, dumps it over the middle, deflected and picked. It's intercepted. Shaq Bond with the ball, and Bond is to the 20, and Bond is to the 10. Touchdown, Utah State!
This was a gift from the football gods themselves, a beautiful pick six from Scarver. It literally seems like it just bounces right into his hands. It definitely took skill to run it down the touchdown, but if that pick isn't luck, I don't know what is. And last, but most definitely not least.
Electing not to call timeout. I like that move. Tied at 56. Merrill for the lead. He's got it! Oh my goodness.
That's right, it never gets old. We're taking it back to March 7th in Las Vegas. Sam Merrill had just split his free throws, which statistically was more surprising than the shot he was just about to hit. But with just seconds left, he nails the three and places the Aggies as the 2020 Mountain West Conference champs.
I think we all knew Sam's game winner was coming. That shot is iconic. Some say luck, some say skill, but why not both?
Probably.
When you think of Logan, you might not think of a crazy bar scene, right?
Well, in honor of St. Patrick's Day, I went to a couple bars around town to see if that was true and to see what they were doing for St. Patrick's Day. Old Chicago is just one of the few bars in Logan, but they do get good business despite being in a predominantly LDS location.
Yeah, we really do. In fact, the owners are LDS. We get a variety of people. I mean, we're a restaurant first and foremost. We're a bar, or a restaurant and tap room.
Bailey's Irish Cream is a popular drink to have during this time of year because of its Irish roots. Drinking alcohol is one way people celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and Logan is no exception. Cheers.
This would be our first one that we're actually open on. So the bar will probably be at least busy, I'm sure of it. I don't know what to expect from the rest of it since we were closed last year.
According to alcohol.org, St. Patrick's Day is the third booziest holiday, and bars like Old Chicago like to do something special.
Doing a mini tour, what we call them. So if you do four visits during a tour, you get one of the t-shirts to take home with you if you're a rewards member, and then we'll probably do a little giveaway on St. Patty's Day as well.
I have always associated St. Patrick's Day with alcohol, but what about you?
I mean, I've known that people like to drink on St. Patrick's Day, but I don't think that's everything.
And now we take a trip back to Cache Rendezvous' pot of gold, and we'll find a leprechaun that seems to be out of luck.
It's Warwick Davis in the 1998 film A Very Unlucky Leprechaun. Davis's character gets himself into all kinds of trouble in this film as the mischievous but light-hearted leprechaun named Lucky.
We'll show you what traditional Irish dishes you should make for your St. Patrick's Day dinner.
it just was chocolate instead of a clothing.
We'll show you how Utah State helped make these resort sweet dreams come true.
I'm one unlucky guy. The chance of being involved in a robbery is 1 in 757. The chances of being struck by lightning. 1 in 750,000.
Please fasten your seatbelts for unexpected turbulence.
The chances of being a victim in an airline crash, 1 in 29 million. Hey, could I get some peanuts? The chances of being involved in a car crash are far greater than lightning strikes and plane crashes. And if you are texting while driving, your risk of crash increases 23 times. Now, I may be an unlucky guy, but I don't have to be part of that statistic, and neither do you. Drive responsibly.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. That means many of the future doctors who will care for us, the engineers who will build our cities, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country can be your kids. We all know how hard it is for you to send them to college. This is why we want you to know you are not alone. And every day more people support you to make it happen. Many support you. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education. HSF.net.
Now it's time for our last trip into the Cache Rendezvous pot of gold to find the scariest leprechaun in the media. I'm back! It's Warwick Davis again, although this time, Lucky the Leprechaun doesn't look so friendly. The Leprechaun horror movie series consists of 8 films that where the leprechaun gets revenge on those who stole his gold. The locations for the film vary from Las Vegas to space, and the leprechaun always gets his gold. Wow, I'm gonna think twice about stealing gold from a leprechaun.
Luckily, these coins are chocolate and aren't real, or we would have a leprechaun problem on our hands. Apparently, there's more to Irish cuisine than just potatoes.
Yes, I mean, it's a big part of their traditional dishes, but yes, there is more. And I'll show you more of that through the history of Irish cuisine, through a couple of traditional dishes and 1 beverage. Cuisine in Gaelic Ireland centered around pork, bread, milk, and vegetables such as cabbage and onions. Here are a few dishes using those ingredients to try this St. Patrick's Day. We'll start off with boiled cabbage and bacon, which inspired the modern classic corned beef and cabbage. To make the bacon, boil the pork in cold water. Once boiling, drain and refill the cold water and boil again for 5 minutes. Then simmer steadily for 1.5 hours, skimming white froth from the top as you go. Once it's done, put finely shredded cabbage into the cooking liquid from the bacon and boil it for 3 minutes. Drain it, then it's ready to serve. Potatoes came to Gaelic Ireland in the 16th century and took over bread as the staple of the Irish diet. When combined with dairy products and onions, we get Irish champ. Boil your potatoes in a pot until they're tender, about 30 minutes. Drain and let them dry out. Meanwhile, warm up some milk and chopped green onions. Once dried, mash your potatoes with salt and butter. Stir in the milk and green onions, and then you're good to go. And wash it all down with brown lemonade, a popular soft drink in modern Ireland. On medium heat, use a pan to warm up some light brown sugar and water until it's dissolved. Combine lemon juice and cold water, and when it's cooled, add the sugar mixture. Make sure to stir it well. Now you're ready to celebrate St. Patrick's Day with your traditional Irish dinner. You got your potatoes and dairy, and your meat and vegetables. You can find all the recipes to these on our Facebook page.
Okay, be honest. How much of that did you actually like?
Well, the boiled cabbage is a bit of an acquired taste, I think, but I did like everything else.
Well, thanks for coming on the show, Will.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
Ski season is wrapping up, but chocolate is never out of season. Josh Davis shows you how Beaver Mountain Ski Resort is adding some sugar to their store.
This ski resort will be getting a little sweeter. Beaver Mountain wanted to go from the logo on their sign to a wrapper through the help of Aggie Chocolate Factory. The resort decided to add a chocolate bar and approached Aggie Chocolate Factory to help. Employees were excited to contribute.
Because I know so many people love skiing and love snowboarding, and so they go up there all the time, and to kind of show that we can all work together so everyone can be successful.
But Aggie Chocolate Factory also needed help. After trying to get molds from overseas, they decided to come to USU again to find the molds for their chocolates.
They were sourcing all their manufacturing overseas, and they were having a hard time with getting a quick turnaround, so it made more sense to make them here.
Both the Aggie Chocolate Factory and USU Outdoor Product Design are excited to help.
So it kind of just like shortens the time from point A to point B, so we can get it from outdoor product design here in a shorter amount of time than we originally could, and then we can get the products to the final destination faster.
Well, I always would get season passes and ski up at the Beeve, and so fun to think that now there's the chocolate bars that I helped be a part of the design process.
Josh Davis, Cache Rendezvous.
Josh got us a piece of chocolate. That's why we can try some. Want some?
Sure. Let's see if I can get it open. Let's try it. That was really good.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Did you want to try some?
Oh, no, thank you. I'm good.
Okay.
We're going to keep enjoying this chocolate, but thank you for watching the St. Patrick's Day edition of Cache Rendezvous.
We'll leave you a look at another look at Old Chicago.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun?
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
What if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow.
My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.